Hi, I'm Jim,
And I'm Kevin,
and we are.
the Signal Brothers. Hey, folks, welcome back to another live podcast by the Signal Brothers. Just keep in mind, we do this live. We don't know what each other's going to say. We do a little research independently, and we never know what's going to come out of Kevin or Jim's mouth when we're out here talking about these subjects. We usually cover the first 30 minutes on the topic that we tell everybody we're going to cover, which tonight is the Fourth and Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. And then what we do is we catch up on some local some recent news that's gone on, and our thoughts and comments on them. So just know all the comments and everything you hear, the opinions expressed by us, those are Jim and mine only, and it's not a reflection on our family or our places of employment. We'd love to take questions related to the subjects we're covering. So if you got some questions or comments, please type them in the chat. And once we see them come in, we usually answer them pretty quick. Got something that you're passionate about? Let us know. We'd love to have you on as a guest on our podcast. We can just talk about anything that you want to cover. We'd be happy to have a conversation when anybody wants to come on the podcast and have a good conversation. Yeah. Even if you don't want to be a part of the podcast, if you got an idea for a subject for us to cover, please let us know. Reach out to Jim or I, either on Facebook, or if you know us, reach out. Even if you can put something in the chat here, we'd love to get some ideas for some subjects you'd want to hear.
Yeah, we struggle sometimes with that, so that would be a great help.
Awesome. Well, Jim, with no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you to get started with our first subject, the Fourth Amendment.
Fourth Amendment. Well, a lot of folks are going to be used to this from watching cop shows and cop dramas and everything about, evidence and what can be used as evidence and warrants and all that good stuff. It reads, the actual article reads, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So basically that means people are protected against unreasonable search and seizures. The police must have a warrant obtained by probable cause to enter your home, actually your vehicle as well. And the government cannot take your property, your papers, or anything, or us, without a valid warrant. So, like I mentioned, you see this a lot on these cop shows, and do you have a warrant? You're knocking on your door? Do you have a warrant? Well, we don't need a warrant if you let us in. That kind of thing, which is true. And once you let them in, anything they see, it could be completely unrelated to why they're there. But if they see anything, that right there is probable cause for anything they need to do, pretty much. But the protection is such that they can't take something unrelated, or they can't take something without permission, or without guidance, or without a warrant to prosecute you, to take away your rights, take away your freedoms, that kind of thing. And I mean, that's really quite central to the Bill of Rights in general. Just like the Fifth Amendment, just like the Second, the First, it protects your rights, in this case, versus, incarceration. And anybody, like I said, that's watched a cop show has seen these things. You can't enter here without a warrant, so on and so forth. A lot of times what you see are people, you see these a lot on YouTube, these guys on YouTube. The police pulls them over. You're like, can you give me your papers? No. You have no probable cause. Can we search your car? No. Yeah. That's a bit extreme. I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's a bit extreme. I mean, you go, you get along, you don't have anything to worry about. You show them the stuff, you move on about your way. But what exactly constitute probable cause?
Yeah, that's the thing, the probable cause, because I did a lot of research on this, Jim, specifically about vehicles.
Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of the videos on Facebook, which is really Instagram, and on TikTok. And it's amazing watching these people get pulled over and they talk about their Fourth Amendment right and no articulate reason of suspicion that they committed a crime or did anything wrong. But when you read, the Supreme Court has said that vehicles are really an exception to the Fourth because they're movable.
Mm.
And the problem is that by the time a cop gets a warrant, the vehicle could be out of their jurisdiction. They still have to have some kind of probable cause. And I'm not saying that all police are bad, but there are police that take that probable cause statement, which is a very, very gray area, Jim.
Yeah.
And they utilize it.
Do I smell something coming from your car? And they don't. And again, I'm not saying that about all cops, but I mean, it can be. I mean, the whole idea, good fences make good neighbors, just keep some rules in place, keep everybody honest kind of thing. But that kind of contradicts a little bit when you're talking about carrying firearms, for example, because they've also said that the vehicle is an extension of your home in that case. So, you got kind of a give and take on this. It can be very convoluted, but one good example that I have found that's a little old, but still it's very pertinent is Weeks versus the United States, 1914. Police in Kansas City went to the house of Mr. Fremont Weeks and used his hidden key to enter and search his home. Right there, that's a violation. I mean, right there. While they took papers, letters, books, and other items. They did not have a warrant. These items were used in court to find Mr. Weeks guilty in that case of sending lottery tickets through the mail, which, Now, of course, this was overturned once they got to court, so on and so forth. But that's just a good point. I mean, you think of how many people have a key under a rock? Most people know this. Police would know this. It'd be just the same thing as the door's open, a crack. Let's go ahead and go in. Same idea. The Fourth Amendment clearly protects citizens against that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, like I said, in your home, I think it's pretty clear. To come in your home, they have to have a warrant. They have to have probable cause. They don't even have to have a warrant. If they hear something bad going on in your home, they could break down that door if they think that your life's in danger or somebody's life's in danger. That's probable cause.
Yeah, and
that's kind of a gray area, like you said. It can be a gray area.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the vehicles, I am not okay. I really think the police have to have a valid reason to search your car when they pull you over.
I agree. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and challenge them at every turn.
No. I see a lot of people challenge the police and it never ends up well for them when they do that. Unless you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't think, even if you're a lawyer, I don't think it's going to bode well with you. I think the thing is that you make it very clear to them that they're violating your Fourth Amendment right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you impede them, it's just going to get ugly and you're going to get a bunch of charges slapped on you. And then for what? For what? Yeah,
you could have done your stuff and been on your way in 5 minutes. But even like you said, even if they do violate your Fourth Amendment right, that's for court. So you go to court against this officer. He sees that they violated your Fourth Amendment your rights, and you're golden. But if you've done nothing wrong, and 9 out of 10 officers, you've done nothing wrong, you show them your stuff, you're on your way. You might be on your way with a ticket, but you're on your way.
No, I agree. The one thing about vehicles, it was interesting in my research. It said about at homes, if they want to seize a car in a driveway, it's not a reason to go into somebody's home and arrest them.
That's right. That was that whole point. It's got to be specified exactly what they're supposed to search
100%.
and seize.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, that again violates that could be probable cause, because say they come in your house and they're looking for I don't know, for whatever, and they happen to see a huge pile of heroin on the damn counter, right? Well, there's a hole that's right out in plain sight. That's a whole other deal. You know, that's a whole other deal. Now they got reason to seize that. They can arrest you for that. It gives them the right to search everything else. They can seize anything. You know what I mean? That's a whole different area. But if they come in your house, they get what they're supposed to get and leave, no problem. I mean, you may eventually have a problem with what they seized, but no big deal. But if they see something else, because you see that on these cop shows all the time too, they walk in to talk to somebody about something and they see dope sitting on the table. I just
the other part of it, the other part of this is like mobile homes. When I talk about mobile homes, I don't want to talk about boats.
There you go. Yeah.
Very interesting about mobile homes is that mobile homes are only considered a residence when they are parked in an area that's used for residential purposes. If they're parked, on the side of the road, the vehicle exclusion applies to those mobile homes.
I would think it would include if your braces are down, if your supports are down, if your brace, your support, the jack things to support it.
No, only if the vehicle is. It only applies if the vehicle's parked in an area for residential purposes only.
Hey, what about your driveway?
I think the driveway thing is covered.
Yeah. Okay.
So the other thing is boats are very interesting because Jim, you and I are both boaters.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I know from taking the boater safety course is that any law enforcement official can board your boat at any time for any reason. Mm-hmm. They don't need a reason. They don't need probable cause to board your boat. If they come up and want to board your boat and inspect your boat to make sure you're meeting all the safety requirements, they can do it at any time for any reason. Matter of fact, just a month ago, I was out on my boat coming back into the creek where I parked my boat at 1 a.m. and coming in, and wouldn't you know, the Stafford County Police were out on the water and they were pitch black, and all of a sudden the blue lights came on and I had to stop my boat immediately. And they pulled up. They didn't board my boat, but they certainly had the right to board my boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just looking for somebody specific. They were looking for a specific issue. So there was no reason. So they didn't want to board my boat, but they very well had the right to tie up to me and ask for all my paperwork and made sure that I met all the safety requirements on the water. It's amazing. So it doesn't really apply.
The one thing I've never really checked on with that is a boat on the water versus a boat on your trailer that you're hauling. I've never looked into that.
Yeah, I think the trailer is more of the Fourth Amendment, vehicle exclusion.
Yeah. I wonder if it has something to do with the boat being on the water, being on a public waterway.
It's about a public waterway. It's about safety. It's all about safety. So it's interesting. You cannot refuse officials to board your boat on the water, whether it be the Coast Guard, the police, whoever it is. You have to let them board.
Yeah, I've been approached. I've never been boarded, but I have been pulled up to and questioned, and they just did a quick, they didn't search anything, just did an eyeball, at everything and went on about their way.
Sure.
Check my fishing license and all that good stuff, and then they were about their way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The Fourth Amendment is powerful, even though there's some exclusions. The one area that's very interesting today has to do with electronic devices.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Well, your iPad.
Yep. And that can apply to anything. If you look, that can apply to many of the amendments. You could, they argue that with the Second Amendment. They argue that with the First Amendment because they didn't have electronic devices. They didn't have automatic weapons, back when these were written.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So there's some interesting things that go on with electronic devices and them being able to seize your devices to get information. If a cop pulls you over for texting and you said you weren't texting, do they have a right to grab your phone and see what was going on your phone when they pulled you over? I mean, I didn't do any research on it, but because it was so much to research this time about these amendments, Jim. Yeah. So I think there's going to be a lot of challenges on being able to access people's devices. If you go back in time, remember the FBI was seizing mobile phones, iPhones, and they were looking for Apple support to unlock the encryption, and Apple would not assist the FBI in unlocking those devices. So I think that these are areas that definitely need further explanation. There's going to be further challenges in the courts related to electronic devices.
Well, I mean, it's a twofold situation because they can physically seize your phone, and then there's the issue: do they have rights to the digital information stored, even if it's not on your phone anymore? It's going to be on the provider's server for however long they keep it. So they'd have to subpoena them. They'd have to get warrants from them. It's a huge thing.
So if they're on your phone looking for one thing and they find something else, right? The whole thing about the warrant has to be very specific on the items that they're going to access. Does that apply to the digital world as well?
The way, if you read it verbatim, I would say yes. Yeah. But by the same token, and I've heard cases about this before, and I'm not going to use the word, but they've been on somebody's phone looking for something, and then they found some sort of images that they shouldn't have. Let's just leave it at that. And this person got charged with, child endangerment. They weren't looking for it. They were looking for something entirely unrelated, but since they had his phone, it happened to be on there, and boom. So there you go.
Well, when it comes to kids, I think there's nothing we can do. I mean, I think we ought to be protecting kids.
Oh yeah. That whole thing, kids are off limits, period. We got some comments here.
We do.
If they can open your phone with your image or print, it's okay. They cannot force you to put in your password. Well, yeah, I mean, they can highly entice you to, but I guess they can't force you to. But then that also makes me think, if they get a warrant, they can get a warrant to compel you to give a DNA sample.
Yes.
They can get a warrant to compel you to put in your fingerprint.
100%.
Or put in your ID, whatever, password.
Right. Absolutely.
Can a person decline law enforcement to board your vessel? No.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
You cannot decline. If you take so Chris, if you take the boater safety course, they specifically cover that. You cannot decline law enforcement to board your vessel. They are allowed to board your vessel, and there is nothing you can do.
Yeah, that's fun. So, I guess you just got to watch how much entertainment you bring with you when you go fishing.
That's it.
Or boating.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Sixth Amendment.
Sixth Amendment.
What's interesting about this to the listeners is Jim and I decided to cover the Fourth and Sixth Amendment, and I happened to be looking on my phone, and there was an article on Facebook about Clarence Gideon, which is very interesting. So in 1961, Clarence Gideon got arrested and was accused of stealing $50. Anyhow, when he went to court, he was too poor to afford counsel. And back before 63, if it wasn't a federal offense, they didn't have to provide counsel, especially in Florida, because this took place in Florida. So first trial, Gideon represents himself. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He gets convicted. He goes to jail. And while he's in jail, he starts researching the law and realized that Florida violated the Sixth Amendment, which is, there's several pieces of the Sixth Amendment. We'll get into those in a minute, but this is the pretty amazing thing. Mm-hmm. So he wrote a 5-page brief. It went to the state Supreme Court and was turned down. It went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they voted unanimously for him. So now for every trial, if you can't afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. I think we just take that for granted because this was only in 1961. It wasn't that long ago that this happened. Well, guess what? They were concerned that if that applied when they argued in front of the Supreme Court, that a whole bunch of people would have to be released because they weren't afforded free legal counsel. And when the Supreme Court ruled, they ended up releasing like 2,000 people from jail. Everybody except Gideon. Gideon got retried, and when he got tried, he was acquitted of the charges. So, pretty amazing story that popped up on the Facebook while we saw that. Got some other questions in here. We'll get to those in just one sec.
Yeah, I actually responded to them in text
while
you were.
That. I see that. Yep. So the areas of the Sixth Amendment they cover. It says in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation to be confronted with, the witness against them, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have assistance of counsel for his defense. So you have right to speedy trial, right to a public trial, right to trial by jury, right to attorney, and the confrontation. You get to confront your accuser. So that's a lot of stuff covered in the Sixth Amendment. And I don't think people really realize how much power is in the Sixth Amendment. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really until I went and did the research. I think it's great that we're going through the amendments because it's really, there's the Constitution, but the amendments are super powerful in the rights that we're granted. All right, Colin. Thanks for that. I didn't know that. If you file taxes with dependents, that's a pretty low. Without dependents, still pretty low bar. So I think there's a lot of gray area because even though you have the right to a speedy trial, it seems like a lot of these trials take a year or more to go to court sometimes. For some of the simple stuff, it's relatively quick, but there's so much stuff in these major trials that have to be sorted out before they actually get to trial. So I was always curious about, right, what constitutes speedy?
Yeah, and you think about it, it's not even legal stuff. If the judge is sick one day and can't make it, then he can, I don't have another date until September. And that could be 6 months away. It could be for any reason. And what is speedy? Speedy is compared to what? Yeah. And the one, probably the biggest problem I have with the Sixth Amendment, Sixth Amendment's great. They're all great. The biggest problem I have, you take a victim that has been traumatized beyond words, and they have to sit there and look in court at the person that abused them.
Understood.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Understood. It's tough. I was on a jury recently for something this year, very similar case to something of that nature, Jim. So I know it is tough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the right to a public trial, and this is an interesting part about this, because what's considered public? Is it having the news media and in there? Is it being televised on TV? What constitutes public? I know public is people can attend it, but I think in today's world, right, having a public trial, there's a lot of judges won't let the cameras in the courtroom during the trial. Mm-hmm. Obviously, people can come sit in it, but and today with social media and the extent of social media and cell phones and having, because when I go to court, unless you're a juror, you can't even bring your cell phone in the court. You have to leave all electronic devices out there, which I find interesting.
Yeah, the electronic age, that affects a lot of what's going on here, especially in the Sixth Amendment, because I mean, like the next one, impartial jury. In this information age, where are you going to find 12 people and a couple alternates that don't know anything about what's going on? Not to mention, as much as Kevin and you have talked about it, the misinformation that's out there, not just the information, the misinformation.
Yes. It's tough today. It's tough today because there's so much information out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much information out there. And so for major trials, a lot of times the debate of sequestering the jury so that during the trial, they don't have access to information.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a tough thing for a judge to decide to sequester a jury, especially if it's a complicated case that's going to go over multiple days, weeks. Some of these trials go weeks.
Yeah. And it's even with an impartial jury, the thing I've always noticed when I've watched trials on TV or heard what's going on or whatever, or even again just watching some of these crime shows, you got a jury of your peers, which I don't think any 12 people like me, but you've still got one person, one man or woman that can decide what your peers can see. I don't know that I like that.
So it was interesting the trial I sat on, and without getting into the details. So it was only one day. I think it was only one day. But when we finally got the case and we went to go deliberate it, everybody felt like the guy being accused of doing what he did was probably not an angel and probably not innocent. However, we had to go by only the information that was presented to us.
Oh, yeah.
In court.
That's a tough one.
We talked about on the Fourth Amendment what constitutes probable cause, right? The challenge for a jury is reasonable doubt. So when you talk about impartiality, you have to remind people that no matter how you feel, you have to, what is there reasonable doubt presented in the case? And if so, then you have to find the defendant not guilty.
Yeah.
So when you talk about being impartial, sometimes it's hard to find people impartial because there were several people when we deliberated that stood up and said, I think the guy's dirty. I'm sure he's guilty of doing some of this. And so at the end of the day, we had to say, okay, where's the facts that prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did what he did?
Yeah, that's got to be tough. I mean, you got somebody in there, all these dirty crimes, hurt people. He's in there for tax evasion. Nope, no proof he did tax evasion. Let's let this murderer go. That's got to be difficult. I've been called for jury a couple times. I've not made the actual jury, but I've been through the little hearings and stuff ahead of time. But I've never actually been on a jury. But I cannot imagine somebody that is going to go out there and hurt people when you let them go. You've got to let them go. Yeah.
What I do find interesting is in a lot of these high-profile cases, the big lawyers that will jump in and do these things pro bono. They're not getting funded, but it's high publicity.
Yep.
And I know being a lawyer is tough. I don't know personally because I'm not a lawyer, but I have a relative who's a lawyer, and I know the hours he puts in at work, and it's not fun. But it would be nice to see a lot more of these big lawyers, when they have the time to represent defendants for crimes that are not so high profile. Not that the legal defense program is bad, but I think sometimes the amount of cases they have to handle and the amount of quality that they can put in probably may make the difference in whether they walk out of that courtroom free or end up being found guilty.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of the people that you hear go up for crimes. You hear somebody at our level going up. They're going through hell trying to prove. You watch somebody up with unlimited amount of funds and the lawyers that they can hire, and they generally get off. And it's like, okay, so basically, as long as I'm rich, I can commit crimes, right? I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, but there it is.
Yeah. Alrighty, Jim. I think it's time to jump into the other subjects. What do you say?
Yep, let's do it.
Awesome.
So
yeah. Nancy Pelosi has announced her retirement from Congress at the end of her term.
Yeah, 85 years old.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think you and I have covered this earlier. It's not only about Nancy Pelosi. We're not attacking Nancy Pelosi or the Democrats on this, but the bottom line is there should be an age. Mitch McConnell is another one. So we'll even bring up on the Republican side.
Yeah, I don't care who they are. There needs to be an age limit.
I don't care who they are. Yeah, there's a time when there should be an age limit on serving. I really, really, really believe that now. What I find interesting is that the amount of money that Nancy Pelosi and her husband has earned her whole time in Congress. Yeah. It's crazy. And I don't want to just talk about her because she's not the only one.
Yeah, she's not the only one. But
all of them.
Yes, Ponytail. Term limits too, absolutely.
So I just blows me away that when she entered Congress, her and her husband worth $3 million, and that was basically on real estate. And let's be honest, the San Francisco area is not a cheap place to live. So while $3 million is a lot of holdings or assets to have, she earned more than $130 million. Her and her husband. More than $130 million in stock profits during her time in Congress, a return of 16,930%. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And not just her.
No.
So they're targeting her, but it's not just her.
Yeah. She's just the example.
She's just the example.
These people make what I think the starting salary today is $174,000 a year. I mean, who was it? What
did GS15 step 10 makes?
Yeah. Who was it that said, you show me a rich politician, I'll show you a crook? Who was that? Was it President Roosevelt? Teddy? I think it was Teddy. I can't remember. Darn it. Look it up. But yeah,
now.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't do. What's her name? Martha Stewart went to jail.
Yes.
That's an example of what I was talking about a minute ago. It depends on how much money you make.
It's crazy. The money that, I mean, and it's on both sides of the house. Mm-hmm. It's on both sides of the house. Democrats and Republicans are making buku money while they're in office. Special interest. They should be banned from trading stocks because they have a lot of inside information.
Yep.
And they're able to hedge the market because they know decisions that they're going to make or things that are coming out of the U.S. government influences the portfolios
and
before the public.
Sometimes they're even on the committees that regulate the industries that they're trading in.
That they're profiting from.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And somebody did one of the, I didn't look it up. If I thought about it earlier, I would have looked it up. Introduced a bill, he happened to name after her, to stop their trading while they're members of Congress. He actually named it the Pelosi bill, if you remember that.
Yep. All right. Dick Cheney.
Oh, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney.
I can't believe, you know what I'm shocked about, Jim?
Hmm.
He was a very controversial guy when he was vice president. He was so when he passed away, it's like Dick Cheney passed away, and there was like no real coverage on Dick Cheney. It was very low key.
Oh, yeah. It was just like an afterthought. Truman said that quote. Thank you, Ponytail.
So I'm just kind of shocked with all the things that went on with Dick Cheney. And maybe it's because the older generation, majority of us don't, really didn't have a problem with it. But I know a lot of the younger generation, if they knew some of the things that Dick Cheney was involved in, here's a guy that profited during the Persian Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
KBR got a direct award, right, to support the troops under him, under the Iraq War. It was under the Iraq War.
Yeah.
Here's somebody who profited quite well. But no discussion about Dick Cheney. And on the news today, Dick Cheney passed away.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. Nobody even talking about flags being flown at half mast. I mean, nothing.
Nothing. Pretty amazing. All right.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Tom Donnie.
That's a good one.
Mayor of New York starting in January.
Yeah. It's like we were talking about before we went live, Kevin. It's like, okay, we are, if you take the politics out of it and you just look at it as a man that won the mayoral race after being in the country 7 years, that to me is America. I mean, you come over as an immigrant, you succeed, that's America. Now, putting the politics back into it, Muslim does not mesh with American values, and neither does socialism, and he's both.
I don't have a problem with him being Muslim, but the socialist, I definitely have an issue with the socialist agenda. Though he got voted in on that socialist agenda.
He said it right out in the open.
He got voted in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole talk about withholding federal funds because he got elected mayor, I 100% disagree with Jim. And here's why. We should not, to me, that's discriminating because we don't like who got voted into mayor. We're going to withhold federal funds. No, we should still provide New York City the federal funds that they're normally provided, or New York State, because we really don't give it to the city. We give the money to the state. The state gives money to the city.
Right. But
if he misappropriates money, that's a different story.
Well, see, he's already intending to do that because he has already come right out. His first thing he said was, we're going to fight Trump and everything he tries to do in our city.
But that's not misappropriating funds.
If he uses those funds to do that. Okay.
So when he does it, right? Words, those are just words. It's about actions.
Okay.
It's all about actions. And so from my perspective, I think what we need to do, I'm certainly glad I don't live in New York City. Number one, let me just say that. Number one. Number two, this guy's going to take office. I think he's going to push a socialist agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's already threatened to raise taxes on businesses and on the rich. I believe it's going to force a lot of the rich people to move out of New York City.
Other businesses.
So they're going to lose funding.
Yeah.
So I would be careful. There's a balance. And that everybody talks about the, capitalism, the problem with capitalism. Well, there's a problem in every form of government. And, I'm going to say this, and if I offend somebody, I'm sorry. He got voted in on giving away stuff to people. I understand New York is an expensive place to live. It's a tough place to live, and people struggle in New York City. But you can't get something for nothing. And I think the people that voted for him
don't understand
that. They don't.
Mm-mm.
And so that's the issue I have with this, Jim.
Well, the thing is, you don't get something for nothing, and most reasonable people know that. But the group of people that are, oh, he's giving us free stuff, regardless of who it is, he's giving us free stuff. You're gonna get in all day long. But he ran basically on. He knew exactly what he was doing. He only needed to say one thing: fight Trump. That's all he needed to say, and you knew he was in office. That's all he needed to say. That, throwing in the free stuff is secondary. But I mean, you create a situation, this is socialism, of course, you create a situation where everybody depends on the government for their everyday needs. You can control them. And that's socialism in a nutshell. And people don't understand. The younger generation don't understand it. The people that are our age that are voting for people like that don't understand that. And I mean, it's great. I'm getting free this, I'm getting free that. Hey, wait a minute. Why does this cost so much anymore? Because you're getting free stuff over here. Somebody's got to pay for it. It costs somebody something somewhere. And they don't see that big picture. They don't even try.
Well, what's interesting is not only Mondami, we're covering Mondami winning New York City, but I mean, I live in Virginia, and look at the Virginia race.
Yeah.
How that turned out. Even at the local level. I will tell you, even it was the same at the local level. At the local level, Jim, the Democrats won. And I'll tell you what I think it is. I mean, Jay Jones, who ran for Attorney General, who had those text messages wishing the Speaker of the Virginia House or Senate dead and his kids dead, still won. And for me, I don't think it was. I think it was people are angry at things that Trump is doing. I think it's a result of them being angry at Trump.
That's a good one, Rick. Yeah, or Ponytail. That's absolutely. When debating.
Yes.
But
so
yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we need to see this out, see what happens, but it doesn't look good. And people keep parading about how much better socialism should be. Have never been to a socialist country. And if socialism is so good, why is everybody free in the socialist countries coming over here?
So even at the local level, at the county level here, we had positions for both the school board and for the board of supervisors up for election in some of the districts in Stafford County. And the Stafford County Republican Committee, for reasons that I still don't understand today, decided to endorse another person because they were angry at the current person holding the position. Yeah. And so the votes got split between the two people, the incumbent and the person they endorsed, and the Democratic person won. They won. And I'm not mad about it. This is a great learning lesson about being unified on your message. It is what it is.
I just don't understand that mentality either. I can hate you all day long, but if you're doing something that's going to benefit me and my family, I'll vote for you.
Yeah.
I don't understand how one has the other.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like supporting Trump. Yeah, he's an arrogant jerk sometimes, a lot of the times, but he's better than our other choice. So,
Yeah, so Jim, next subject has to do with the SNAP benefits, right? The larger government shutdown. Next two things we're going to cover is about the government shutdown, but first is about SNAP benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely concerned that there are people that are not getting the benefits that they need. I want to be very overt and clear about that. However, I believe that this program is abused, and I think this program needs to be reined in. What I mean reined in is the people that need it definitely should have it. But I really wonder, Jim, if everybody on that program really should be on it. And there should be a way to requalify or to reevaluate somebody's need on this program.
Yeah, it's like with any federal or state program. It was 10 years ago, no, maybe 15 years ago. They shut down Tennessee Medicaid, literally closed it, shut it off because it was out of money because it was so abused. They brought it back a few years later, reevaluated everybody, and it's back and it's running. It's been running for years now. Same thing with federal benefits. And if you listen to these people argue, it's like 42 million people are without okay, let's stop and repeat that for a moment. 42 million people. What is that? 12, 15% of society, entire society? 42 million.
12%. Yeah.
Yeah. 42 million people. There's not 42 million disabled able to work people. No, it is hugely abused. And the problem with that, along to what you say, the people that need it are getting ignored, left behind. They're getting in with the mix. I know there are people that need it. My brother is physically and mentally handicapped, and he's been on federal and state assistance since he was 20 years old. And people that got injured at work or they've aged out to the point where they worked all their lives, I got no problem giving those people tax dollars for assistance. But what percentage is that? And we covered this in another podcast. Are we willing to let those people go without to rein in the huge amount of abuse that's going on? That's a tough call right there.
No, so we need to get the government to reopen and get the benefits out there to people who need it, bottom line. But I think one of the things we need to do is we really need to revamp this program to make sure that only the people that need it are getting it 100%.
I've been on federal assistance before, multiple times. As soon as I was good to go, we were off it. I mean, that's what it's
just
there
like
for.
Medicaid, just like Medicare, same thing. I want people who need it or have to be on it, right? When I turn 65, I don't got a choice. I'm going to be on Medicare. But I want to make sure that the people are getting the benefits are people that are truly entitled and need it.
Yeah, you don't break our laws, come over here and automatically get free health care and free subsistence and free. No. It just no.
So the other subject related that's being impacted is air traffic reduction. So let's just say this. I am quite happy. Well, we got a question before we get into this subject.
Yeah, statement on that.
Yeah.
It has. It's enabled them to. I mean, you've got generations of people that have been on public assistance and never tried.
Yeah.
Where was that story? I heard that story. This woman was arguing with her daughter. And her daughter was 16. She wanted to get a job so she could have her own money, go out, hang out with her friends and everything. Her mom would not let her get a job because it would affect her food stamps.
So
how do you marginalize your own children like that?
Yeah. Out to the air traffic reductions, kudos to the government for making conscious decisions to reduce the air traffic flows by percentages in order to keep people safe. While it is an inconvenience, right? That inconvenience exists because Congress is failing to do their job by opening the government, bottom line. And so there are impacts. Air traffic controllers are working without getting paid, bottom line. And I don't understand that. If there is one thing we should change is that the critical people that are required to keep things going while the congressman can't get changed, I hope to God they pass a law to make sure, like air traffic controllers, screeners at the airport, right? Certain people need to always get paid no matter what. And the impacts on people that are not getting paid, it's a stressful. Being an air traffic controller is not an easy job. And the fact that we are not paying those people and expecting them to operate to standard is not okay with me, Jim. So I'm obviously concerned. I'm flying somewhere next Saturday. I'm flying down to Tuscaloosa to go watch Alabama play Oklahoma. And in a couple of weeks, I'm flying out to California. I'm definitely concerned about the impacts.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Congress understands the impacts they're starting to have now. And I think they're going to pass them. They're going to open the government this week. I truly believe they're going to open the government this week.
I hope so. Like you're saying, we've got a anniversary trip next month. We're flying to the Bahamas. So I mean, I hope it opens up. I hope it's resolved. And no, these guys shouldn't be having to work without pay. If Congress is getting paid, which is a sore spot, but I know there's a law saying they should. These guys should get paid. The troops should get paid. I mean,
100%. 100%. So we need these folks, these 535 representatives that represent us both in the House and Congress, House and the Senate, excuse me, to get your butt back in that damn building and figure it out. I don't want to hear that you're not going to show up. Show up every day. They should be sequestered in that damn building every day until they come out with an agreement. They shouldn't be allowed to go home. They shouldn't be allowed to not show up. Their butts should be in that damn building doing what they're getting paid to do.
Exactly. That's exactly right. If you're getting paid, you need to show up. Absolutely.
So Jim, I got to go on one diatribe before we talk about our next podcast.
Okay.
Brian Daboll has got to be fired tomorrow as the New York Giants head coach. I have to go on record saying that, Jim. We were on the road 4 games this year, up by 10 or more points, and we lost the game. The fact that we lost the Denver game was criminal because we were up over 19 points with 8 minutes to go. We were up over 10 points on the Chicago Bears today and lost that game. It's not okay. Time for that guy to go.
Yeah, there's something going on there. There's something wrong there.
It's not right. We have talent. Yes, people have gotten hurt on the team, just like a lot of other teams, but the other teams find a way to win. The Giants just find a way to lose, Jim. I don't understand it.
I feel your pain. Back when I was following NFL closer, I live, the great Tennessee Titans. I moved to the area the same year they did from Houston. That first couple of years, boy, that was great. After that, we just can't get a thing going. So, yeah, I don't even try anymore. I don't even try.
So, Jim, let's tell our listeners about our podcast. Our next podcast is going to be on 30 November. And we're excited because we're actually going to have a guest on the podcast.
Yes. First one in a while.
Bullock. Yeah, Reginald Bullock is going to come on here, and he's an entrepreneur. So we hear a lot about AI, but Reginald uses AI to create music, to write books. He's doing a lot of things. He even made his first AI music video. So we're going to bring him on, let him talk about his the work he's doing. I'm excited to have him on and understand the way he's taking AI and utilizing it to potentially in the future monetize and make good money. I never even knew. Happened to hang out with this guy a few weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, I got this album, played this music," and I was like, "Wow, that's you singing?" He goes, "No, I made that with AI." So I don't want to ruin it for our listeners. It's a pretty amazing story where this guy came from, and we're going to let him share on November 30th. That's our next podcast. I believe that's 3 weeks from today, Jim.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, Jim, I think we've run the gamut.
Yep.
So we appreciate the listeners who have been hanging in.
Yep.
And being patient with us. We continue to do this because we believe that we're doing good work.
We've had some decent interaction today too.
We did. We had some great interaction today. I appreciate the listeners that were putting comments in the chat. We actually look for that. That's amazing. We do appreciate the folks that take time to listen and to provide comments.
Yep.
Well, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jim.
And we are
the Signal Brothers.
Take care, folks.
Good night. Thank you for watching.